Historically, building a product meant locking yourself in a room for months. You would sketch an idea, write the code, and build the entire thing in absolute isolation, hoping the market actually wanted it when you finally emerged. It is a linear model that forces you into a high-stakes gamble. You spend all your capital, both time and money, placing it with a framework that stops treating production as a leap of faith and starts treating it as a systematic filtration of risk. We can call this the iteration engine. It is a modern, tech-enabled production system driven entirely by micro-validations and constant feedback loops. The iteration engine changes the primary objective. The focus shifts toward creating a system where success is a byproduct of rigorous early testing and constant refinement. The most critical step of this modern framework is counterintuitive. You strictly avoid writing any code or doing any actual technical build-out. Instead, you start in the define phase. Here, the sole focus is finding the intersection of your specific expertise and a real-world problem, structuring it into an offer that actually sells. This diagram shows the define phase ending at a validation gate. You share a mini launch post publicly, proving market appetite. Next, in the design phase, you focus on visual style and onboarding, concluding at a second validation gate by sharing a visual mockup. This second gate ensures the product is usable and the onboarding flow is optimized for conversion. You establish these metrics before hiring a single developer. These gates act as a ruthless filter. By the time a project actually reaches the development stage, the demand and usability have already been pre-verified by real users. Only after an idea survives those initial gates does the project shift from conceptual design into creating a tangible technical roadmap. Looking at the start of the develop track on our diagram, you see the traditional bottleneck of writing manual product requirements is bypassed. Modern builders use AI tools to generate the specification. Feeding your validated data into a large language model turns the grueling process of drafting a PRD and development roadmap into an almost instantaneous tech-assisted step. The AI effectively automates the heaviest intellectual lifting required to transition an abstract idea into a ready-to-build technical plan. The actual build phase happens in a sequence of repeating cycles. This diagram section illustrates the build with loops concept. Every MVP iteration immediately goes through a strict cycle of testing and improving. The protocol is to iterate until it holds up, forcing constant corrections and ensuring the product becomes robust through stress testing. Once the product holds up under that pressure, it hits the final gate in the sequence. You deploy the product to an established waitlist, letting you run through your final launch checklist. Looking at this final green validation gate, you can see the waitlist launch post. It serves as the ultimate verification that the technical build fully meets your users' expectations before a massive public release. By relying on this iterative engine, you guarantee that the technical build is refined by real-world usage and friction, rather than relying on a developer's untested assumptions. With a validated, stress-tested product in hand, the process transitions into the distribution phase. This is the stage where the product is finally ready to scale. At this point, your go-to-market strategy is not based on hopeful broadcasting. Instead, it is driven by deliberate growth experiments, continuously testing different marketing channels to find out exactly what works best. The final block on this flowchart shows the automate and scale phase. Once those experiments reveal a successful channel, you double down on it, do more of it, and automate the growth mechanics. But the most significant logic of this entire framework is not found at the end of the line. It is found in the mechanism that loops everything right back to the beginning. Every piece of data and insight you gather during distribution is recycled. What you learn here feeds directly into the next cycle to fuel your very next product idea. The framework creates an infinite loop of learning and building. Each cycle yields new insights, allowing you to refine the product based on real-world evidence and gradually reduce the volatility of every launch.